Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another podcast with your host, Aeon Wraith.
And Red Shadow. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday morning as Wraith and I discuss whatever happens to cross our minds.
So, today we're going to try to talk about Pokemon, but we'll see where we go. So, recently, well, I say recently as in like 10 minutes ago, we both just watched the new Pokemon Nintendo Direct. And, there's some fascinating things coming out of that Direct. I didn't think, well, I mean, people were talking about it, that we would get another Pokemon Snap.
Uh huh.
And, I mean, like, those graphics look amazing, but I'm curious if it's going to be as stilted, as the original. Um,
Out of all the Pokemon games, I believe Pokemon Snap is the only one that I did not play more than just a little bit.
I used to play it all the time um, because, well, when I was in my Nintendo 64 phase, I used to play Pokemon Snap and Pokemon Battle Stadium a lot.
Uh huh.
And Pokemon Snap was always fun. And at the time when I was younger, I didn't realize necessarily how scripted it was, right?
Right.
And so I'm hoping that this version will have some more randomized encounters.
Mm
Because otherwise, when you're playing the level, right, you're not going in to take pictures. You're going in to get every event, which takes away a little bit of the fun. You
hmm. Yeah.
know, especially if you're doing like a safari thing, you want every single adventure to be kind of unique. You know,
Mm hmm.
different Pokemon show up, you see them do different stuff.
Right.
I mean, of course, you don't want them casting Hyper Beam at you, but that would be interesting. Just to
So the original Pokemon Snap was more scripted, like you were following a
very.
script. So
So you were
you
you were
went into the.
literally on a track. You're in a
Uh huh.
minecart on a track, and
Mm hmm.
as you're going down the track, the Pokemon will be at the place they're supposed to be. Sometimes they'll pop out of a bush and they'll do a specific animation, and then you'll keep going. And so one of the challenges of Pokemon Snap was to not only get the pictures of the Pokemon, it was to get them in that particular action. So sometimes you would play that stage 5 times, right, to get the timing down, to get to know what to take the picture of, and then you'd get a perfect
Okay.
run. And like I said, as a child, I didn't realize it was that scripted, because you
Mm
don't
hmm.
notice those things. But as an adult, you really see that it's scripted, and it doesn't feel like a safari. It feels like kind of like somebody built, like a simulator of it, like the kind of thing like you think of like a haunted house, right? Like when people
Mm
make
hmm.
haunted houses, it's very scripted, um, down to every noise they make and the route that you take. And
Uh
if
huh.
you do it right, that can be really good. But
Right.
but the problem with haunted houses is, I mean, you only run those once, right?
Uh huh.
Usually don't go back through. And especially with video games, we have a habit of replaying, you know, especially with things we love like Pokemon. And so, people would go and replay these stages, uh, just to see either different Pokemon or see what they missed, in that world. And they could have, like, it could still be, I guess, scripted, but they'd have to have a lot of content, right, in that track.
Yeah. See, the thing about it is like whenever I was growing up, I didn't actually get um I didn't actually get a Nintendo 64 like until I was quite a bit older.
Hmm.
And so like I played on my cousin's Nintendo 64 some, not a lot because I wasn't around them like as much as I could be.
Hmm.
Um, but like I only ever really played like Pokemon Stadium,
Yeah.
right? And then the in fact the only time I ever really played Pokemon Snap that I can recall was one of my dad's friends on the fire department. Their son had Pokemon Snap, and we went over to their house in preparation for a Halloween event that was going to be. It was basically a haunted house that was going to be in their barn, and I got to like watch him play and then play some Pokemon Snap
Hmm.
while my parents were like getting things ready and everything. And I remember thinking to myself, well, this is kind of cool, but at the same time, like it wasn't what I was used to. I was used to a more like kind of like fun Pokemon
Hmm.
game, and to me, that just little snippet of Pokemon Snap was not as fun as what I had come to you know expect from the Pokemon world.
Right.
I fell in love with Pokemon when I first played it, but I was always it seemed like I was always behind everyone else.
Mm.
The in fact, the first Pokemon game I ever played, most people played, red and blue,
Hmm.
maybe even yellow is their first Pokemon game. My first Pokemon game that I ever played was Pokemon Crystal.
That's a really good one though.
It is a really good one. I was fascinated with Pokemon, and I would play the Pokemon games like at Walmart on
Hmm.
the little console, that was like
Oh yeah,
hanging
the
from the little.
demos. Yeah.
Uh huh. And like I would play those, and I would fantasize, about playing Pokemon because I had some friends at school that played Pokemon, but I didn't have a Game Boy. I didn't have
Hmm.
a Game Boy. I think when I was in the first grade, I think there was a couple of boys that had Game Boy Pockets.
Okay.
They were
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
they were the colored ones, but not the
Game Boy Color.
not the Game Boy
Yeah.
Color. It was like the one right before that.
Yeah.
And they had like Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue, stuff like that. And I thought it was awesome.
Hmm. Because yeah, my first Pokemon was Pokemon Blue. Um, and because like at the time my brother bought both Blue and Red, and I was borrowing them from him because I didn't have a Game Boy, but my brother did. And so I was borrowing those. So I played Blue first, and then I remember I got my very first Game Boy when Yellow came out. Um, and so at that time it was Game Boy Color. So my mom had bought me for I don't know if it was Christmas or my birthday. I'd have to see when that game came out. She bought me the bundle of Pokemon Yellow plus the Pokemon Yellow specialty Game Boy, and I still have that.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
yeah, and so like it's a yellow Game Boy with like Pikachu on it, and I still have it. Um,
Hmm.
and that was my first game. That was actually my first game console, I guess if you want to call it
Right.
a console. And so I used to play Pokemon Yellow a lot. Uh, and it's funny because the reason I stopped playing Pokemon Yellow is I kind of rage quitted. Um,
Oh yeah.
because I'd restarted several times. When I was playing the game, you'd play it through, then you play it through again. And on this particular run, I don't know how I did it because I was too young to realize I did something special. I somehow hit a glitch that allowed me to teach my Pikachu surf. And so I could ride my Pikachu on the ocean, which was, I mean, like, that's kind of weird, right? But at the time, since I was so young, I'm like, I'm going to transfer my Pikachu to another game. So, because he was level 100, so that I can go through this game real quick, you know. And
Uh,
when you do that with Pokemon Yellow, because he's he's a special starter, he runs away. It actually will say that'll say Pikachu ran away, and so not only will the new game not get him, but you lose him in your file forever. And so that's
I did not know that.
yeah, and so I kind of rage quit it after that. I was like, man, I put so much work into level 100, this Pikachu with Surf, and I just haven't gone back to Yellow since.
Yeah. I played through um I played through red and blue. I have yellow, but I've never beaten it.
Hmm.
Mainly because I didn't get yellow. I didn't get yellow until I was like 16,
Yep.
17 years old. Like I played and beat Crystal, and I put so much time into Crystal. I
Hmm.
wish I still had my Crystal cartridge.
Oh, same, dude.
And unfortunately, I sold it in when I was probably a junior in high school, and I sold it to a guy for like $20 or $25
I mean, that's
because I
pretty
just
good.
I wasn't even play I like I just wasn't playing it anymore.
Yeah.
And so I sold it, and now I still have my red and my blue copies, and I got yellow. I had gotten yellow kind of a little bit later, but I still have my Game Boy Color and my Game Boy Advance.
Hmm.
I still have them, and I actually still play it from time to time. Although I don't really play Pokemon as much. I have a Super Mario game for my Game Boy Color, and I just really like that particular Super Mario game.
Is it Super Mario World?
It's like Super Mario Deluxe. It's like the original NES version, but in color
Oh,
and a
okay.
little bit better graphics.
Okay.
It's really fun. It's really fun to play. And then they've got like a special mode that you can go into with like these ghosts and stuff, and then you got to
Hmm.
like try to beat the ghosts. It's like all the same worlds, like 1-1 through like 8-4 or whatever it is. I can't
Yeah.
remember exactly.
Hmm.
And each one has a ghost, and then once you beat all of those, then there's another one, but with a pink ghost. And then once you beat all those, then there's another one with a green ghost, and it just keeps getting faster and faster and faster.
Hmm.
There's a lot of hidden little Yoshi Easter eggs in it, stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. But I just can't believe that Pokemon, is 25 years old.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like,
You
cause
know,
I mean, it's hard to think, cause sometimes I do forget how old we are, right? I mean, we're not old, but like, I still remember the first time I turned 12, right?
hmm
And it's like, oh my God, I hit
the
12.
first time you turned 12.
I turned 12 several times mentally.
Mentally.
Uh,
I like that. I like that clarification, man.
yeah. But when I turned 12, that was a big moment for me.
Uh huh.
And then I'm looking back like that really wasn't that long ago, was it?
No, I mean not really. Not
And
in the grand scheme of things.
mhm. And I remember very vividly when Pokemon Ruby came out.
Oh, I
Ruby and
remember
Sapphire.
Ruby.
And man, I played that so much. I think that was the first Pokemon where you could run. And
Yeah, yeah. The running shoes.
yeah. And man, that doesn't feel like it's been that long since that game came out, but it really has. It's been what, 15, maybe 17 years?
It has been. If you give me one, like 2 seconds. It is 2021, and it came out in 2002. It has been 19
19
years.
years. Wow.
Eight,
19
18,
years.
19, because I'm not sure what month it came out.
Right. But still, I mean, like, because people who've played, I mean, one good thing about Pokemon, really, I'd say, is that people who play the new Pokemon games
Uh
and
huh.
that really like them generally will go back and play the older ones.
Right.
Because, if you like Pokemon, any little bit will get you, you know?
Like I played. I okay. So I have an interesting story with Ruby.
Hmm.
I got Pokemon Crystal. With it was the special lime green. I say special lime green. I think they had a lime green Game Boy Color, but it was the limited edition. Like lime green with crystal,
Hmm.
like in the same packaging. And so that's what me and Demon got. We both got that for Christmas. In 2000. Yeah, it
Hmm.
was like right around 2000 that we got that. 2000, 2001. I remember because my parents had a wreck that year in
Mm.
December. And my father had to go back to the hospital on Christmas Day, and I remember mom saying, "Well, we could open one present that Christmas morning to tide us over until he got home from the hospital." And that was when they were still together. They're
Hmm.
divorced now. They've been divorced for years. But they let us open our Game Boys, and we spent the entire morning, grinding out levels. But back to Ruby. When Ruby came out, I wanted it so badly.
Hmm.
Like I would go to the store, like it's the only game, or the first game. I can't say the only game because there has been a few other games since then.
Hmm.
But it was the first game that I got on release day.
Mm. Hmm.
The first game I ever got on release day. And so I begged and pleaded with my parents to get me that game, and I was literally like, I will do anything. I don't care what it is. I will do anything to get this game on release day. and we had a laundry room. I don't know if you remember the laundry room at my dad's house, the
I
one that was
think
kind of
I
like
do. Yeah.
you went through my room and then it kind of sunk down. It like you had to take a step
Yeah.
down into the
Okay. Yeah.
laundry room.
I do remember that room. Yeah.
It was completely a mess. Like there were clothes everywhere. There was some trash. Not really a whole lot of trash. It was mainly just clothes. Just like clothes all in there from like like clothes that I mean they were everybody's clothes. They were my dad's clothes, my mom's clothes, my clothes, my sister's clothes,
Hmm.
my brother's clothes, like everybody. And my mom was like, "If you'll completely clean and organize the laundry room, I'll buy it for you." And I busted my butt. I cleaned the floors. I shampooed the carpets.
Mm.
I mopped the linoleum. I cleaned the washer and dryer with a scrub brush. I mean, I completely detailed that laundry room in order to get Pokemon Ruby on release day.
Hmm.
And I'll never forget we went to Walmart and they were sold out.
I hate when that
And
happens.
so I think the next place we went, I can't remember if Kmart was still there then. I honestly I can't remember. But I remember we went to GameStop in the mall and it was sold out. And I think EB Toys was still in the mall then. We went there, sold out. And I was just so disappointed because I really, really wanted this game and it was release day and I wanted it so bad. And my mom was like, "Well, I guess we're not going to be able to get it, because we didn't have Best Buy here then."
Hmm.
Um, well, I was like, my dad was like, "Well, I think there's the one more electronics store. It's over there in Cornerstone by Lowe's. It was right there on that first little strip on the left, right past IHOP.
Hmm.
It's not there anymore, but we went there and they had two copies of Ruby, and my mom bought me one of them. And I mean, I was over the roof thrilled. And
Hmm.
I put so much time into Ruby. Like I can't even tell you how many hours I put into playing Ruby. Getting Groudon for the first time, fighting Team Magma.
Hmm.
Like I think you do you fight Team Magma in Ruby or you fight Team Aqua? I can't remember.
I think it's Team Aqua actually.
I can't if it's reversed or if it's the same in those.
I think it's
I
reversed.
think later on it's reversed. But like you fight an evil team and it's not Team Rocket and it's actually got decent battles, decent
Hmm.
dialogue, decent everything. Like I just remember that being so epic.
Hmm. Well, I mean, like, so it's funny. I've played a lot of Ruby, but I've never actually beaten
Uh-huh.
that one.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I've never beat. Like, I always get to the same part. I always get to the volcano. With the ash, the
Uh-huh.
falling ash. I always get there every time, and then something will happen, and I just don't play from there. And then when I come back, I'm like, I don't remember what I was doing. Let me start over.
Well, I know Ruby in parts had a lot of complicated because you had the two separate bikes. You had the match bike and you had the aggro bike.
Hmm.
And you it added the whole hopping thing
Hmm.
and it added the quick traveling and the one of the things that was so infuriating to me was the like the floor traps, right, where you had to use the
Hmm.
match bike and go really really fast and like go over and like turn
Yeah.
and like move like super quick. And I remember that being so complicated. um it's probably the game I've put the most time into as far as Pokemon games. The only other one that would probably come close, if not surpass it, would be Emerald.
See,
Because,
yeah, I've never played Emerald.
and the reason why is because when Emerald came out, so Emerald is basically Ruby and Sapphire, but with extra.
Yeah.
But it had the, I forget what they call it. It's like the Battle Palace or the Battle Island or something.
Oh
It
yeah, I
was
know what you're
after
talking
you
about.
beat the
Yeah.
Elite Four, you went to this special island and it had like five different like places that you could battle and train and do these things. It had like the battle tower and a couple other things. And I just spent so much time doing all of those things and doing the contests, like the beauty pageant type deals.
hmm I
It
will
was
say,
ridiculous.
like some of the more recent Pokemon games, I do love the little
Uh-huh.
like yeah, Pokemon, Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu. They were really simplified, but I did love that you could dress up Pikachu and Eevee. The only downside I felt was that you could not dress up your other Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because like I would love to go into a battle and like every Pokemon on my team has a top hat, you know, and a monocle. That would be great. And I'd like if we could have like a theme because I mean you could match your clothing with the Pokemon, which was great,
hmm
but I wanted the other Pokemon to have stylized stuff as well. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be like full costumes, but like little accessories, right? Like a bow tie or
Yeah.
really easy things to implement. You know, you can put that on any Pokemon, and it doesn't count as like a held item.
Right. See, one of the biggest things is I feel like I love Pokemon from nostalgia's perspective.
hmm
Okay. It's very nostalgic to me. I grew up with Pokemon while Pokemon was popular. I have trading cards. I still have trading cards. I am not ashamed of the trading cards. I have almost a complete first set. I'm missing a few, but that's okay. One day I'll get them. I've thought about buying them because some of them are not that expensive these days.
hmm
Like I could pick up those. I'm only missing 13 cards
Don't I think
out
you
of the
have you
original
you have
151.
you have Charizard, don't you?
I do not. Well,
Oh,
I did have a Charizard, but I got rid of it because it was damaged,
oh,
and I didn't want to keep a damaged card because every card in the thing is pristine,
yeah.
except for the Charizard. The only reason I kept on to it for so long, I still have it somewhere, I believe, but it's not in my binder with the rest of the cards. And the reason why
Right.
is because I was never able to pull a Charizard myself. I
hmm
bought countless packs, but I was never able to get one. My cousin, however, had one, and my cousin was younger than me, but I guess he quote unquote grew out of Pokemon faster.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
anyway, I was over at his house one time and I was asking him about Pokemon or something. And I was like, yeah, I only need like one really good card, one really rare card. The rest of them are just like, they're not rare. It's just
hmm
like I didn't get enough of those booster packs. Like, I pulled more base booster packs than anything else.
Yeah.
And of course, back then it was super, super hard to get them because even though they were only $2 or $3 a pack, like I might have to do chores for a week to get one pack. Back then, my mom got what she could, but we didn't always have, everything. Well, he had a Charizard,
hmm
and he was being a dick. And he was like, well, I have a Charizard. I'll give it to you. And I was like, oh, man, that would be awesome. I was like, I'd really, really like to get my hands on a Charizard. If you give it to me, I was like, I'll give you some money for it. He was like, no, man, I'll give it to you for free. And he got it out of his binder. He had it in a binder. He pulled it out of his binder and he bent it in half
Mm.
and then handed it to me.
No, these are all what, NA first editions, or do you have some JP first editions?
I do not have any first edition. I don't believe I have any first edition cards. I do have some JP cards, but I don't believe that they're first editions either. I don't know that I have any first
Oh,
editions.
okay.
They're base two.
One thing I'll say, because like when I went to Japan, like there are dedicated card shops. Like
Uh
that's
huh.
all they sell are cards.
Right.
Because Japan has a very large trading card scene, not just for Pokemon or Magic the Gathering, but so many other TV shows have trading card games. I mean, you've
Uh
got
huh.
Yu-Gi-Oh, and so one of the things they'll have is they'll have you can either buy a very specific card for a certain amount, like you would here, or they have like this pack you'd spend $1 and you'd get 100 cards that you don't know what's in there. And they would put some of the rarer cards in there.
Hmm. Yeah, I can tell you exactly who I'm missing. I'm missing Charizard. I am missing Machamp, Gengar, Hypno, Hitmonchan.
You're missing Hitmonchan?
Uh,
I think I have an extra Hitmonchan.
yeah, I don't have Hitmonchan,
Hold on. Let
or
me
at least I
go.
don't have it in. I don't have it in my binder. I need a Gyarados. I have Gyarados, but this one's messed up. It's bent and messed up. I need a Vaporeon. Who is this? Articuno.
I'm not sure I
That's it.
have one of those. I'm looking through my cards right now. I had a big bag of them. I don't have a binder like you do, but
I was kind of looking to see. I have Japanese cards in here. If we had webcams and stuff, I could show them on stream.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't have that. Oh, these are Dragon Ball Z cards. These are my trainer cards.
You said you didn't have Machamp?
Yeah, I don't have Machamp.
I've got three.
Here's my
Here's.
base Zapdos.
How do you know if
My
it's a?
other
How
Flareon.
do you know where the base thing is?
Okay, so there's two different versions of Zapdos, right?
Hmm.
There's a base version of Zapdos, and then there's a fossil Zapdos. And I have the fossil Zapdos up here with the rest of the cards.
Hmm.
All the fossils, if you look to the bottom right hand corner of the picture, all fossil cards have like a hand claw.
Oh, okay.
Base cards don't have anything.
Oh,
It's
okay. I see.
blank.
I've got a
Base
yeah.
two,
I've got a gloom here
base
that
two.
has like a flower.
Yes, that's the jungle.
Okay. Yeah, I have four Machokes that I guess are base one.
Yes.
They don't have anything there. I've got four Machokes. Five
Yeah, it's
Machokes.
base two, jungle, fossil, I believe is all of them. Base two, jungle, and fossil were the original sets.
Seven Machokes.
You just got tons of jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a Japanese Victory Bell. It's not the only Japanese card I have. It's just the first one I've seen.
The first Japanese Pokemon card I had was actually Pikachu.
Yeah, I think that might be one of the only Japanese cards I have. I thought I had more, but over the years, oh nope, I've got a Japanese Ampharos, which is from the Neo Genesis set, I believe. Oh man, it's been a long time since I've looked in this binder. I have Yu-Gi-Oh
Oh,
cards in here.
I'll have to keep him out. I've got a Japanese Eevee.
I have Young from Yu Yu Hakusho.
Mm.
I got a bunch of mega cards from when I. Okay, so I got a couple of years ago. I got into like I re-got into Pokemon, and I was buying all of these like Mega EX cards and stuff.
Oh yeah, those packs. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I've got a ton of those. I've got a bunch of EX cards in here.
Did you say you do have Dugong?
Yeah, I have Dugong.
Right.
There's my second Mewtwo, my non-holographic. There's my holographic Nidoking, my holographic Snorlax. There's also a knockoff set.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have Dugong. There's also a knockoff set. I didn't realize they were knockoffs at the time, but I have some of those as well. I don't believe any of those are in my main set, though. They're just extras that I've got laying around. There's the promo Mewtwo card from Pokemon the first movie.
Oh yeah, man,
Here's
I had that. I just don't know where it went.
here's Pokemon cards that I doctored. They're regular Pokemon cards, but I cut stickers to fit over the picture to make
Oh
them different.
yeah.
These are my trainers cards from the trainers sets. Rocket Snorlax, Brock's Onyx, Blaine's Charmander, Lieutenant Surge's, Raichu, Brock's Graveler. There's a Dark Jolteon, Dark Vaporeon from the Rocket set. It's everything.
Ugh, so many energy
Yeah,
cards.
it's so like it's like taking a trip down, memory lane.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Like kind of like looking back into the past.
Well, I mean, like, 'cause it is interesting to see. Like, you're looking at this and you're remembering, what kind of person you were when you first got these. And uh, I've changed a lot since then. I used to be, as you most people are, when that I have some Monopoly money amongst my Pokemon cards. Wait, some Disney Monopoly money. It's got Uncle Scrooge on it. Um, I used to be really, really into Pokemon cards and Magic the Gathering when I was
Mhm.
in middle school. And I don't know at what point, but at some point I really stopped liking card games.
Uh-huh.
Like even now, like video games, I'll see it. I'm like, if it has a card game system, I'm not interested anymore. Oh, I've got a
Right.
first edition Cubone.
That's cool.
Keep him out. Um, I know I gave away a lot of these at one point to my cousin when I was in high school,
Uh-huh.
and at the time I was like, yeah, I don't need them. But then, looking back, it's like I shouldn't have done that. There was probably some expensive cards in there or things I could have kept. Because when you give them to your little cousins that are like 6, they don't take care of them. Ugh.
I did not. I knew that they were expensive, but I didn't think that they were that expensive.
Well, I mean, when I say expensive, I mean like, you know, $5.
I was meaning these ones that I'm looking at on
Oh, you looking at
eBay.
one of those ones that's like $600?
Well, what's weird is some of these are like super expensive, and then some of them are not.
Yeah,
Like, like some of these have been authenticated, right? Like they're in a little plastic sleeve. Like this one right here has got it's numbered, it's got the rating and everything. They
yeah,
want $675 for that one.
yep.
This one right here, they want $2,500. That's the starting bid. You can buy now for 4,200.
What card is it?
Charizard.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, but then there's this one right here is the 1999. It's the same. It's the same card. Like it's literally the same card. It's number 4.
Why is there so much Monopoly money in here?
You were really into Monopoly money.
I have some life money too.
You were saving it for a rainy day, man.
Apparently, thought I could go buy more Pokemon cards with that. I'll be
I
honest.
wouldn't buy from eBay. There is a there I think that there's a I think there's a website that you can get. I think I'll have to look on Reddit again. I found it. So the market price right now, it must have went back up because I remember looking at it a couple of years ago, and it wasn't as expensive as it is now. This is a damaged one. Golly,
How much do they selling that one
it
for?
says $122.73.
For damaged?
The market price for a foil base Charizard
Uh huh.
is $566.06. What if I typed in base 2 Charizard? Okay, this is a lot more reasonable. This one's mint condition. It's $200.
Okay.
Like
Voltic.
mint condition, like that's not bad. Used 100 and like no. It's because that was a base set and this is base 2. Base 2 obviously is cheaper. Yeah,
Yeah.
see right here. This one right here is got wonder what the rating on this one is. A 7? It's not super bad. Okay, this has turned into me looking at eBay and you looking at
My cards.
cards.
That is what Pokemon is, though.
All
That's
right, so
very on brand.
let's get back to the podcast. All right, so all right, so we talked about nostalgia and we
Hmm.
covered some of the games and we covered some of the cards. Um, do you- let's just talk about collectibles. Okay,
Okay.
I don't have any anymore, but I remember trying so hard to get my hands on the golden cards that came with Happy Meals from Burger King.
Yep. I had so many of those, and I have no idea where they went.
Yeah, I had a few of them, and I know where they are. I can't easily access them because they're in a box at the other end of my house.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, because I don't know where
Yeah.
they went. Because I didn't have the whole set,
hmm
but I had a good three
I
or
didn't.
four.
I didn't have the whole set either. I had three or four, maybe five. Another one of the things that so you know that the original Pokemon cards were like the ones like you're probably looking at the ones that I'm looking at, but you know that they had another set of cards that were full artwork on the front, and they
Yeah.
had like pictures on the back, and you could get special editions ones of those in packs of Pokemon gum.
Oh no, I did not know that.
Do you
Okay.
remember that?
I
You
don't.
don't remember that?
I mean, they still have
Yeah.
that kind of stuff in Japan, except it's not really gum anymore. It's like crackers.
Uh
Uh,
huh.
I got some of those for One Piece actually that I've got on my desk here.
Uh huh.
Where it's like I don't know, $2 or $3 for this little cracker, but then you get like a card.
I have those. I have some of those as well, like the full artwork picture cards.
Hmm.
I have some of those as well, so that's cool.
Yeah, I know I have a Hitmonchan. I'll go look for that later after the podcast is done. Oh, okay, yeah, but like I don't know. One thing that I've never really been that into, I guess, other than Pokemon Stadium,
Uh huh.
is I guess you could call them the offshoot Pokemon games. The games that are Pokemon, but they're not the main series Pokemon. Because they're like, we were watching that direct, and they were talking about all these different, things you have for the Pokemon stuff. Like, you had that. We saw that I did have Pokemon Pinball.
Uh
Um,
huh.
and I used to play that not because it was Pokemon, but just because it was pinball.
Right.
Uh, and I've never really played much of those. Like those things that had like mini games with the Pokemon. How about you? Have you played many of those?
So I never really played any of the offshoots. I didn't play Pokemon Dungeons. I didn't play like Pokemon Rescue.
Hmm.
Like I didn't play any of those. I played Pokemon Snap, but I've never beaten it. I just played it briefly.
Hmm.
Um, I was always kind of a main. I guess the only offshoot games that I would have played, if you call them offshoot games, would be like Pokemon Coliseum,
Hmm.
Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness.
Oh, there's one Pokemon game that's an offshoot that I would like to play. I remember seeing it on one of those YouTube lists of obscure games that shouldn't have worked
Uh
but
huh.
did. Hold on, let me see if I can find out what it's called. Oops. Oops, that's not how you spell that at all. Let's see here. Pokemon Conquest. Yeah.
Heard of it.
So Pokemon Conquest is a merger between two different types of
Uh huh.
games. It's a merger of Pokemon and a series called Nobunaga's Ambition, which is about like it's set in the Sengoku era, or where
Uh huh.
you're going and you're trying to conquer Japan.
Mhm.
And so they mixed up those two games together in one game. And to be honest, that shouldn't have worked, but it's actually a very successful game, and it's like one of the only offshoots I want to play.
Mhm.
Here, let me send you a link.
So, have you delved into one of the things Demon does a lot of is look at um, ROM hacks and different types of like Pokemon games that are
Yeah.
modified by a
Nuzlocke.
third party and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Have you played any of those? And if so, or did you like any of them? Because I did play one, but I'll talk about it after you go.
I've not played any. The only one that I mean, like I've seen a few here and there, like on
Hmm.
YouTube. The one that I really wanted to play, uh, that you can't really get your hands on anymore was Uranium.
Hmm.
Pokemon Uranium was a ROM hack that did an entirely new story, and it had new Pokemon, and it just looked really really cool. Uh,
Is that the one Nintendo shut down that was online?
they shut it down in 3 days. Yeah,
Yeah.
because copyright infringement,
Uh
and
huh.
it wasn't like the game was being sold, but I think it was around that time. I don't remember which game was coming out. Another Pokemon game came out, and
Hmm.
people were like, "Well, instead of this new Pokemon game that came out, I'd rather go and play this," and so it was taken away from their sales.
Hmm.
Uh, it's unfortunate. I mean, like that you some like I understand that there's copyrighted assets and stuff, but sometimes
Right.
it'd be interesting, if it's not for profit, to just let people play, creations or mods, because like that's one thing that Bethesda's pretty good about is they let you do those mods, and they let you use the assets to create something new as long as you don't charge for it. But Nintendo is horrendous at like controlling their assets. As I mean, as you've seen with YouTube, with them shutting down YouTube channels over the use of audio.
I can't for the life of me remember what the name. Yeah. Well, didn't Nintendo allow people to do?
At one point, but I guess they changed their mind.
Cause I watch a lot. Well, I don't watch a lot of them, but Demon watches a ton of like PokeTubers and stuff like that,
So the
and
problem is,
they
it's
all stream
it.
and play
Mhm.
Pokemon.
You can do it until they notice. Essentially, like
Hmm.
like one of the things about, especially with these Pokemon YouTubers, like Demon, when he's watching these Pokemon YouTubers, when he goes and watch some of these Naruto stuff, he's looking at really obscure people, right? Like they're big in that community, but
Yeah.
overarching wise, most people don't know they exist.
Well, yeah,
And
but even if they were big in that community, you would think that Pokemon would know about it because literally you can literally just go and type in you know Pokemon streamer and get like 5 to 10 people. Go on YouTube, type in
mhm,
let's play Pokemon and get a ton of different people that are doing it.
because I'm not sure, what
I
their
can't I
strategy
can't
is.
I can't remember what the name of that. I had it until I started thinking about it, and then now I can't remember what it was called. Go ahead, continue. Sorry.
Because like they're not always consistent,
Hmm.
with what Nintendo takes down. Sometimes they hit you for something really minor.
It's crazy.
Sometimes why? Sorry, I went to the Pokemon YouTube page, and there's, I guess, a thing with Post Malone doing a virtual concert for Pokemon.
Yeah, yeah, that was yesterday. Nick watched, or Demon watched it.
But there's just like sometimes it's what catches the company's eye, right? Like maybe they don't go out of their way to look for you, but if you pass in front of them, they'll shut
Uh
you
huh.
down. Like that was the reason why I think Uranium got hit so bad when there's some of these other ROM hacks out there, is because Uranium was really really big. Like it blew up the internet, and so
Yeah.
Game Freak and Nintendo had to take a stand. Because it's the same thing with like doing emulators on Twitch, right?
Mhm.
Technically, it's illegal because it's copyright infringement, but you can roll the dice as to whether or not someone will see that you've done it
Yeah.
or will make a complaint, you know, or notify other people. So it's one of those things that you do at your own risk. Although I'm
Right.
sure some of these poke YouTubers have like Patreons or other modes of income that's not solely dependent on like YouTube.
Well,
Well, because I know some of these poke YouTubers, like you've shown me some of them, like they get sent, packs of cards and stuff from their fans.
Well, yeah,
Um,
but there's a difference. Like the only PokeTuber that I think I've ever showed you, because I don't really watch them,
mhm,
but they don't even consider him a PokeTuber. He's more of a Pokemon merchandise
hmm,
YouTuber. Like all he does is show merchandise, and that's not really copyright infringement. He purchased it; it's his.
mhm,
It's not like he's not showing gameplay or anything like that. He just or people send him like Pokemon cards and Pokemon plushies and Pokemon this and Pokemon that, and he talks Pokemon theory
mhm,
and stuff like that, but he's not actually showing any licensed content other than what he's purchased is his own.
mhm. So you
Like
tell
they don't
me,
usually go after people like if they're wearing a Pikachu hoodie, they can't really say
mhm,
anything because they purchased the hoodie,
I
you
should make
know.
a I should make a YouTube channel based solely around my Pokemon merch because I've got a little Pikachu back there in a Mimikyu
That's
costume.
that's the unlisted leaf. That's Ando
Yeah.
from
Oh,
Australia. But like some of the people, Demon Watches, they stream and play, like they stream and play ROM hacks, like literally
mhm,
straight up ROM hacks, like randomized colors of Pokemon
mhm.
and randomized
Spawn
Nuzlocke
rates, yeah.
things
I've seen some of those, yeah.
where you go in and like all three starters can be random, and like some of them get legendaries for starters, and then they do the Nuzlocke where you can only catch one Pokemon per route, and it's got to be the first Pokemon you run into, and
Yeah.
if you don't catch the first one, if you don't catch the first Pokemon you see,
You just
or
have
you
to wait
accidentally
until the
kill
next
it,
area,
you just
yeah.
have to wait until the next area. And if you run out of Pokemon, like once your Pokemon dies, it's dead forever, and you
Yeah.
can never revive it. And like I don't know that even half of that was right. I just know that
It
that's
sounds right cuz like I remember there's
how it
there's
is.
I've seen one, at least a clip of it, of a guy that's doing a Nuzlocke run, and there's this part in the very beginning of Nuzlocke, uh,
Uh huh.
where you're trying to sprint through that very first stain of grass because you don't have any Pokeballs.
Right.
And right at the edge of the thing, he hit a Pokemon battle, and it was a shiny Pokemon.
Oh man.
And so not only could he not catch it because he didn't have any Pokeballs, he also couldn't
Uh,
catch any other Pokemon in that area. And so he was going to have to do this entire area with one Pokemon.
that's crazy.
But to go back to that Nintendo Direct, I'm not going to lie, I am looking forward to that Pokemon Legends game.
Mhm.
That does look like it's up my alley. I know you said you weren't necessarily a big fan of Breath of the Wild, um, but I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed that
Mhm.
aspect of exploration. Like, well, I'm just gonna go over here. What do I find, right? And so I'm hoping this game has one of those things like, well, I'm just gonna go over here. Oh my god, I just ran into a legendary.
Mhm.
And of course, I mean, I'm
Well,
curious. Sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
I was gonna say I was curious how they're gonna make legendaries in this game because I'm not quite sure based on the direct whether or not because you sneak up on Pokemon and catch them with a Pokeball, but I'm not certain if that will be the same for like legendaries or if you have to beat them down to catch them, right? Or if it'll be like cinematic fights. I'm curious to see.
Yeah, I'll have to try to find this and tell you about it later. But there was a Pokemon game, and they may have removed it too. It wasn't Uranium, I don't believe. But it was a Pokemon game that I played for a short little while. But it was set in like a post-apocalyptic world where like Pokemon are disappearing, and like they're like dying out and they're becoming extinct, and so Pokemon are even more rare than they used to be. And like it was like you start out in this like city, and they don't tell you where to go or what to do, and you just kind of have to like wander around and try to like you're basically doing an investigation, trying to figure out who you need to talk to, where you need to talk to them, where you need to go. But like it's a completely redesigned Pokemon world. I think it's based in like Fire Red or Leaf Green.
Mm.
Um, because they're flush up against the side panel of the game screen, so you can't see them. So you kind of like got to walk around and like bump into walls and see if you can go through into another. But it's set up like that so that it's more mystery and more like suspense
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I played for like 2 or 3 hours and I couldn't even get to the first gym.
Huh.
It's pretty hard, pretty complicated, but I can't remember what the name of it was.
Yeah, because
I played it like 4 or 5 years ago.
I was looking over the thing of uranium, and like that's where like the radiations affect the Pokemon, and they're like super violent now. But I mean,
Yeah, that wasn't
there's a
it wasn't it
lot
wasn't Pokemon Uranium. I know that.
there's a lot of ROM hacks and stuff like. Oops,
So
go
can
away.
you still get it
I
or no?
I will let you know in just a second. Hold on.
Download.
And yeah, download.
You apparently you can't download it, but 1.5 million people who did will still receive updates and support.
Mm-hmm. Because here, I'm just gonna type in Pokemon ROM hacks and let's see what pops up.
Yeah, I looked.
See if there's anything I recognize. 23 of the best Pokemon ROM hacks.
If they see the thing about these major companies, right,
Mm-hmm.
is they literally have customers asking for stuff and they will not supply the demand.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
People
do.
have been asking people have been asking for a Pokemon game that incorporates more than just 8 gyms for
Yeah.
a long time. Pokemon Crystal had 16 gyms. You played all through Johto, and then you could cross the little river or little thing. What?
Oh, sorry. Just the name of this ROM hack. I can assume what it's going to be like. Pokemon
What is
Glazed
it?
and Blazed.
Oh, Glazed. Pokemon Glazed is like, if I'm remembering correctly, Demon talked about that one a lot. The Pokemon Glazed is like a completely redone ROM hack where all the Pokemon are like sweets and all their typings are different. So like instead of like fire and grass and like water, you have like strawberry, chocolate, and vanilla.
Mm.
And like all the Pokemon have some kind of sweets theme, like donuts or
Oh,
muffins
okay.
or
I was
cupcake.
I was thinking 420 Blaze it.
Yeah, I
That's
don't.
not nearly as funny.
I mean, for all I know, it is. I don't know. I've never played it. I remember him talking about it. If you want to talk to anyone about ROM hacks and randomizers and all that stuff, Demon is the man for that.
So, looks like the top Pokemon ROM hack is Pokemon Light Platinum. It's a
Can't remember if I played that one.
remake of Ruby.
I've played Polished Silver. It's pretty good. I've played a lot of Ash Gray. I've never beaten it, but it's basically like I think it's Crystal. It's a Crystal Gold or Silver ROM hack, but instead of that game, you're playing Kanto, but you play like Ash from the anime.
Hold on, there's one on here called Liquid Crystal. Let me see what that one is.
I didn't play Liquid Crystal. I played Polished Crystal.
Oh, Polished Crystal.
There's Yeah, there's a bunch of different Crystal remakes. I actually have Polished Crystal on my cell phone because I have a I have a Game Boy emulator on my cell phone.
Well, it's like I mean, like I go back and forth on emulators because like I most of the games I emulate I have purchased,
Uh-huh.
and the problem is not
Yeah.
that I'm trying to steal stuff. I want to play the game, But hold on just a second. My there we
that
go.
that's one of the biggest arguments for emulators is I own this game,
Hmm.
right? You do not sell the console anymore.
Right.
You don't sell parts to fix the console, but you won't re-release it on a new console so I can rebuy it.
Yeah, because like
If I'm not selling it and I'm not distributing it, why can't I have a copy for myself?
one of my favorite games is Dark Cloud. What? Just I'm just gonna do this later, not right now. One of my favorite games is Dark Cloud for the PS2. And it's
Uh,
unfortunate that I have to play it on an emulator because none of my PS2s work, and if you try to go and find a PS2, it's not going to run for long. And it's like if they would just because they've taken some games right and they put them on the PSN network that you can rebuy. And it's unfortunate that Dark Cloud is not one of them. I would buy it again in a heartbeat because I love that game. I like it so
yeah.
much that yes, I would rebuy it. It's the same way that my brother is such a big fan of Stardew Valley. He will buy it on every platform to support, the fact that it's coming out and to support that keeping having updates. I
Right.
would show my support for that kind of stuff.
Like I own Skyrim on like 4 different consoles
Mhm.
and PC. Why? Because I really, really like that game.
Mhm. Cuz
You
like
know?
and it's sometimes, I mean like there's a demand for some of these things, right? For not
Hmm.
necessarily it comes back and forth. Some people want remakes, some people want remasters. I don't care. Like if it's a game I really really like, I don't care if it's just a port, you know? I just want
And
to play that
they
on a
they can't say that they can't do it because they have plenty of NES games and Game Boy Color games that they've ported onto the Switch.
right. And this like I know the Wii U actually had an emulator on the Wii U so you could play Wii games.
Yeah.
And just give us that.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's an official PlayStation emulator that you have to buy. If it's like a program, like, through Steam or something, buy this emulator, this official emulator, and you can play these games. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Just to play
Why
some of
don't
this.
that brings up an excellent point. Why don't they do that? Like with the way the internet is, why couldn't you just be like, okay, here's a Game Boy Color emulator.
Mhm.
It's $30. Well, heck, you could do it $10 a month. People love subscriptions.
Mhm.
$10 a month. Game Boy Color emulator. Get on the website, purchase your games. It's $10 a month for the Game Boy emulator. You can purchase the game separate, or
Mhm.
you can pay $20 a month and have access to the catalog.
Right.
You click it, you play it, save your progress, whatever. You could do it on the Switch or you could do it on the computer, whichever one, would get them. But like my biggest thing is like all of the original Game Boy Color games,
Mhm.
or not original Game Boy, like Game Boy Color games, right? Are
Mhm.
not huge,
No, dude,
right?
they're megabytes.
Why why wouldn't Nintendo release an official sponsored Nintendo Game Boy Color emulator that only plays Game Boy Color games
Mhm.
for Android and iPhone?
Right. Because there's like our phones can run that easily.
You
I
run
mean,
it, and that. It wouldn't be that hard to develop. They already have developed it. They've
mhm.
already made it.
Yeah.
Already made it. Now they could be making. They're not going to make a ton of money, right? Because people already like. They're not going to make a ton of money because not everybody's going to want to spend on it. But
Mhm.
they've already made it. It already exists. Literally, all they have to do is push it out and put a price tag on it.
Mhm.
If it would take one guy less than a day, and they would probably make way more than they are paying that guy for that one day of work.
Yeah. Because I mean, like, especially I know for me, and I know that I'm not the only one. It's a very large community of people that really like these older games and want to replay them, and the demand is there, and we'll pay for it. Like, uh, speaking of older games, like my brother, his favorite game I think of all time is Harvest Moon: Back to Nature, which was for the PlayStation 1. And So like that game, in his opinion, is the best iteration of Harvest Moon, and he can play that just for hours.
Hmm.
And he's like, if they would just, he doesn't care. They don't have to update it, right? If they just give access to it on like PlayStation Now or whatever, or or the PSN network, just give us access to it, and I will play it and pay for it.
Yep.
Because it's unfortunate that the farther into the future we go, the less the hardware from that era is going to work just because of degradation.
The only place if you lived in some places in Japan, like in and around, because I know that they have a lot of shops over there
So
that fix up and sell older consoles. I've seen YouTube videos where they've still got new,
they do,
like
but
PlayStation 2s and stuff like that. Like,
so like I remember when I was over there, like you could go and you'd buy the consoles, but like one thing I'm saying is just like the hardware required to run that, you know, is not necessarily being made anymore.
it's negligible. Like you don't need that hardware. Like it's just like you can play, like you can download, if you have an Android phone, you can get
Hmm.
emulators for Nintendo 64,
Right.
Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, like a bunch of different. You can get
Well, I mean,
a Nintendo DS emulator for an
hell,
Android phone.
do you remember the NES Mini?
Yeah.
That was an emulator. It was an emulator on a box. So it's a little thing for an emulator that you hook up to your TV. They could do that for all of their other systems, and it wouldn't do much. And they made
Oh,
so much money from that.
maybe they will. Maybe they're just waiting.
Maybe
They're biding their time. They're going to release a Game Boy Color emulator that you plug into your TV. I'll buy it.
I'll buy the N64 one too. Shit.
I'll buy it more. I'll buy it more readily than I'll buy the N60, like the NES one. Like,
Yeah.
cause I wanted the NES one, but they were so hard to get when they first came out, and
Yeah.
now like the kind of the hype is past.
Yeah.
I think you can still get them though,
Yeah. My
but
brother
really,
has one.
there's only like two, maybe three games that I would like to play.
Mm-hmm.
The original Mario, the original Zelda. Can't think of a third.
Um, they
Not on
have.
the original NES.
Yeah, I think. What did they have?
Maybe Mario World. Was Mario World 3 on the original NES or was that on the Super
I
NES?
think it was on the Super NES. I don't know. I'll have to tell you some other time because I know my brother has the NES Mini and I can tell you what games are on there. But yeah,
Didn't
like
they
I was.
release a Super NES Mini?
They did.
So they could theoretically release an N64
Mm-hmm.
Mini. Bet you that one will sell like hotcakes because there's a ton of N64 games that I love.
Man, I would like if I could go back and play Banjo Kazooie, Paper Mario, any of those. Man, I would be so happy.
Man,
I.
I spent so much time playing this one N64 game called Cruising the World.
Hmm.
It's like this. It's like it was an arcade game at CC's, and then I found out that it was on N64, and so I bought it at a pawn shop in Benton. That was when we were with my mom's second husband.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We were going to pawn shops all the time. Yeah. In fact, I think the first N64 that I owned was the one that he bought when we were with him.
Hmm.
Like that was like the first one I owned at my house. Had easy access to. Everyone, all the other games and stuff I played were at other people's houses.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, hell, I think we got the N64 when the Xbox 360 was out.
Man, I'll tell you what. There's a game from the Xbox 360 that I wouldn't mind playing again. What was it called? Hold on. It was one of the launch titles actually.
Oh
And like
yeah.
some people didn't like it, but I guess to me it kind of felt like Pokemon.
Uh huh.
Hold on a second. I'll put it in chat so you can see it.
I really liked Feeding Frenzy.
I think I've played it, but I can't remember.
It's like what is this link? Is this the link you just posted? No, that was 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap the stream up pretty soon. We've kind of derailed at this point.
Well, I mean, we were talking about Pokemon, and then we just started talking about Nintendo, so it's still on point.
We went from structured podcast to what our normal conversations are.
Yeah, but that's our appeal, right?
No, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. Heck it, we're having fun.
Yeah, it's all that matters. And I think that would bring like people would enjoy it, right? People would
And just
rather.
because we call it a podcast, but we're not on the podcast section. We're on the just chatting section, so we're just
Yeah,
chatting now.
yeah, but this game, like a lot of
That's what
people
we
like
should
it.
do. We should just start like just streaming us talking.
Well, that's essentially what we have been doing, right? Where you play Puzzles and Dragons, and I'm just talking to you.
Well, yeah, but that's whenever I'm on the Puzzle Dragon category.
Yeah.
I've seen this game, but I've never played it.
Yeah, because look here, Eurogamer rated it a 5 out of 10, but like
Uh,
I had a lot of fun with it, and I went back and I played it twice.
what was like that one random game that I got? Kingdom Under Fire, Circle
Oh
of
yeah,
Doom.
I remember you showed me that. Yeah.
Like I wish I could play that again. Like it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, because this game, Cameo Elements of Power, like what the thing was is you played as that chick in the picture, and you used magic to transform into those things behind her. So like these were different creatures she could transform into to solve puzzles. And you had I think like 9 or 10 different creatures you could transform into.
Eurogamer gave it a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, screw those
This one
guys.
I'm talking. The one I'm talking about. The game I'm talking about.
I know, screw those guys. They don't know what a good game is.
I mean, IGN gave it a 5.8 out of 10.
That's why
Game
typically, yeah.
Informer 5.25 out of 10. Golly, that I really liked this game. And what's funny is it wasn't even the first game in the series. It was like the third game in the series, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they were like, huh. I
Because
wonder
then,
what the gameplay of this game is like.
oh, there was another game for the Xbox that I really liked. It was a Dungeons and Dragons game.
So, I wonder I don't think this one plays the same. Apparently they had a new one. It's called Kingdom Under Fire 2.
Uh huh.
It's in the same series. It was released November 14th, 2019. That was not that long ago. Really.
This is it.
It takes place the game chronologically follows uh Kingdom Under Fire Circle of Doom and is the first RTS game set in the Kingdom Under Fire universe to be released since Kingdom Under Fire Heroes. So this is an RTS,
Oh, interesting.
not a
What was yours, a hack and slash?
like um it was kind of like a cross between. I was trying to think of something that it's like, but I can't really think of anything that it's like right off the top of my head. It was like a map based. It was like a map based dungeon crawler. Is basically what it was.
Mm,
Each stage had a map, right? And
yeah.
you would go through the map, and you would kill enemies similar to like Dynasty. Was it Dynasty Warriors or whatever, where you fight the giant groups of enemies?
Yeah.
It's like a cross between that and like a smaller, like you had a preset path that you had to follow, quote unquote. And like there were different little alcoves and stuff like that, or like the map might be flipped or it might be a little bit different, but it was always pretty similar. And then you had a pretty clear cut path that you had to go through the level.
It's like it's funny you say that because like this game that I was about to bring up, Dungeons and Dragons Heroes, sounds very similar in the way that it's played.
It
Um,
might be,
and
right?
like that was one of those games like my brother and I we used to play that like because you could play it co-op. We used to play that
Uh,
nonstop. You could play it single player or co-op, and it was fun. Because like the story of that one is that you're four legendary heroes that lost, and to fight or not necessarily lost. You beat the evil bad guy, but you all
Uh-huh.
died at the same time. You beat him and
Yeah.
died. So one of the things is somebody accidentally resurrects him, so they have to resurrect the four heroes.
Uh-huh.
But when they do that, it's an imperfect resurrection, so they don't have their powers. So the game is them like going through and regaining the strength they had before to take this guy down again. And it was really neat because the way they showed that was through your weapons. You would get shards of your weapons from the past, and they would just become more and more awesome. But look at
Cool.
that. Look what this game's from. 1998 to 2005. It's my favorite era of gaming.
Yeah. Oh, it's that's sad.
What did the company go under?
No, it's apparently it is an RTS, but it's also an MMO.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I'm not a fan of that. I wonder if they ever ported it to anything like Steam or anything like
Oh,
that.
that's a good question. Sometimes it's like we were looking at it was a couple weeks ago, right? The game Fate that we really enjoyed
Uh-huh.
in high school, and it's like, oh, this is on Steam. I had no idea.
Well, they've got Kingdom Under Fire Heroes, and they've got Kingdom Under Fire 2. Well, heck, according to this Kingdom Under Fire Heroes came out in 2020.
Hmm.
It's a re-release. Like it's just a port
Yeah.
or something of the original game, but I don't see. Here's Kingdom Under Fire: The Crusaders, Kingdom Under Fire Classics. Of course, they won't have the one that I loved.
Yeah.
I'm just disappointed. But yeah, you say in the Fate series, yeah. I mean, like the Fate series was I enjoyed the Fate series a lot, and so it was really cool to be able to get that, and now I have them, in my
Mhm.
Steam library, and I can play them anytime I want to. If I get a little itch for nostalgia, I can just like pop on and play for a little while, and then
Mhm.
pop back off.
And I want that for Pokemon too. You know.
And I mean, I don't see any reason why they couldn't do something like that in the future.
Mhm.
Like they're already set up for it, and the way that these quote unquote streaming platform services are going, I
Mhm.
don't I don't see why they couldn't. You know, you set them up with a monthly subscription and let them go. Let them wreak havoc.
Mhm.
You know, I pay subscriptions for stuff that I might not watch, but maybe 30 minutes of the entire year. You know, I've had Crunchyroll, specifically Crunchyroll. I've had Crunchyroll for 5 years, I believe, 4 or 5 years. I've had Crunchyroll. I pay $50 every year, and I in the last 5 years have probably only watched maybe 6 to 8 months worth of anime.
Mhm.
You know, that's one of the reasons why I canceled my Netflix and canceled my Hulu is because, like, I was paying for it every single month, and I might not even log in and like I might not even log in and see what's happening.
You know, you bring up Netflix, and that's another thing that kind of angers me is that like some of these things are available. Like I'm sure there might be stuff in Japan that are doing exactly what we're talking about,
Uh
but
huh.
they're not coming out of the country. So like when I was living in Japan, Netflix is completely different. It's the same subscription, like it still costs the same, and I was able to connect to my account in Netflix,
Uh huh.
but you had access to so much more. Like
Yeah.
because I when I went over there, you had they have it on here now, but they didn't at the time. One Piece, right? You had the entirety of One Piece, all 900 episodes at the time, on Netflix.
Yeah.
And then I came back and it wiped it from because I had it saved to my list and it just took it off because it's
Uh
not
huh.
available here. And they just added it back, but they only have I think like 150 episodes
Well,
on.
I don't know if this is something you're interested in, and I'm not exactly sure 100% how it works because I don't have it. But I see a lot of
Oh,
YouTubers talking
VPNs.
about
Yeah.
getting VPNs, and that way you can watch stuff from other countries.
Yeah. I mean, I've looked into
Um,
it. The only reason I haven't is because I'm lazy, and right now I don't necessarily need to waste the money on that.
yeah.
Uh, but like, I mean, I don't know. There's
No,
just
don't you have Crunchyroll?
no, I don't.
Oh, I was going to say I think One Piece is
I
on Crunchyroll.
I boycott Crunchyroll.
Oh,
Simply because of the way they started. They started by taking fan translations that were free and uploading them as their own and then charging for it.
yeah.
They might translate it themselves now that they're a bigger company, but the way they
Uh huh.
started just gives me a sour taste in my mouth.
So you want
So,
to know I know we're going to talk about this next week on the podcast, and I'll kind of use this as a segue into the end because we're
okay.
over the hour and 15-minute mark. So next week on the podcast, we are going to be talking about So I'm a Spider, So What? It's one of the light novels slash web novels slash anime slash I think they also have a manga that I have
Yeah.
not read
Mhm.
that me and Wraith are very very interested in.
Mhm.
So on Crunchyroll, they have 8 episodes out for the anime.
Mhm.
According the English translated light novels are currently at 10, and they're coming out with the 11th one. But what I found interesting is the other day I logged in to watch episode 8. Okay,
Yeah.
they have episodes 1 and 2 translated into an English dub, German dub, French dub, Russian dub, Portuguese dub, Spanish dub.
Mm.
That is how popular this anime is.
Well, like so, uh, the trailer for this anime, and I'll talk about this more next time, but I'm just gonna leave it off this. The trailer for the anime came out 3 years ago,
Uh huh.
and people have been hyped for it since.
Yeah.
In fact,
Like
I did a presentation on this in one of my Japanese courses, and I pulled images from that presentation because it's insane how long this has been in the works. But yeah, so we'll definitely leave this for next time because that will almost assuredly be a very long conversation. So thank you for joining us on this podcast. Again, I am Aeon Wraith, and this is my co-host,
Red Shadow.
the Red Shadow. I will be uploading this to my YouTube. Um, Shadow has a YouTube, but he's not been uploading our podcast yet because we're still in the testing phase.
Which
Uh,
today is officially the last day of testing.
yes, the last day of testing. The last 2 or 3 streams I've had, I haven't had any of those technical issues I'd been having, so we got those out of the way.
I had to steal my VOD to upload to the YouTube.
Yeah. And so, we're coming along, and, next Sunday, mark it on your calendars, is the first official podcast. And in that podcast, we will unveil the name of our podcast and kind of our direction going forward.
Yeah, we'll have a little bit more structure in the beginning of the podcast. Kind of like, no, I say the beginning of the podcast, not as in the beginning of the long term of the podcast, but it's like the
Hmm.
beginning is in like the first 20 minutes or so.
Right.
It'll be a
Because,
little more regimented.
yeah.
We'll have a little bit of a topic that we talk about, and then it'll kind of just go on kind of the meandering random path, that we tend to go on. We are also going to try to start having guests on periodically. We will not have a guest every week, and we may have reoccurring guests. At first, it'll be friends and family,
Hmm.
people that are close to us, people that are in our circle. Not because there are not interesting people out there, but because it's something that we're more comfortable with as new
Yeah,
streamers,
starting
new
out. Yeah.
YouTubers. I would feel more comfortable just chatting with friends. That's what this is. Friends chatting, friends podcasting.
Hmm. So thanks again for checking in. We hope to see you next time on our first official podcast. We'll see you then. Bye bye.